Whether you know it or not, what you carry is valuable. Now in this video, I will share with you 3 reasons why I can make that statement and why you can apply it to your life so that you can execute on all that's within you and inevitably all that this world needs out of you. Now for those that don't know, my name is Rickey Jones Jr. and what I love to do on this channel is to encourage, inspire, ultimately with the goal of activating you into all that you were designed, created, and destined to achieve and to do. And in this video, again, we're going to be talking about the fact that what you carry is valuable. And oftentimes people don't realize that, they don't recognize that, or they try to find value outside of themselves and try to pour into who they are to quantify what they can bring into this world. However, let me go ahead and get into it, because point number 1 of why what you carry is valuable is because of your history. Nobody has the history that you have. Nobody has the things, I'm about to get ahead of myself. Nobody has gone through the things that you have gone through. Now, I don't care if your history is 60 plus years, 40 plus years, or myself, 30 plus years, or even down to 5 years old. Nobody has the history that you have. Now, for example, you may be like, bro, what are you talking about? No, I'm not talking about, having a conversation where you're saying to the person, listen to, back in my days, we used to do X, Y, and Z. No, I'm talking about the fact that where you were born, where you were raised, the friends that you had while you were growing up, the things that you saw while you were growing up, the things that you saw while you were living where you were living. All of those things equate to the history that you have. Now, even to that point alone is why I hold near and dear to my heart the words, the thoughts, the history of senior citizens, or the elderly, or those that have come before me. Like, if you're older than me, at the end of the day, I'm gonna just listen to what you have to say, even if I realize that it's not something that I can apply to my life. However, my ears are always open to what you have to say, just in part to the age that you have more than me, right? And so I feel like that's a thing. And in today's culture, in today's time, that's not so much the case. However, I choose to believe that seniors that have lived life before me have something to share with me because of their history. You know what I'm saying? And I believe that as we continue throughout life and as we interact with one another, as we get to hear what you are carrying, as we get to hear what's valuable within you, so will others recognize the truth of that statement. And even to like my kids, like the history that they have is short in time span. However, it has something that could be shared with me, because truth be told, they have given me information. They have given me valuable tidbits because of things that they haven't gone through. Now, sometimes people's history, let me just spin it up and mix it up. Sometimes people have gone through so many different things, or even in some cases, unfortunately, so many negative things that because of their history, they look at the future in a pessimistic mindset, or look at the future with an idea of, man, I've already tried that and that didn't work out, or I would do that, but I already did that, or I had a friend to try that and it didn't work out. However, my child, my son, my daughter, they'll try anything. Why? Because they haven't failed enough to realize or have the thought of limitations and what they can't do and what they can't realize or what they can accomplish. And that's a beautiful space to live in. And so even if you're watching this video, listening to it, saying to yourself, I don't have a long history, I haven't experienced a lot of things, I haven't done things that I know that others have done, cool, it's fine. Your innocence is as well a superpower. Your innocence is as well valuable. That greenness, as one would say, that you have in that space is also to your benefit, because you will try different things. You will go for different things that somebody with age and a history will not go after. However, there's space and value at the table for both the young person and the older person. And so realize that the history that you have is not only special to who you are, but is a cornerstone to the value that you also carry. Reason number 2, great people, as to why what you carry is valuable. It's because of your experiences. And so I almost leaked that in even point number 1. However, your experiences are shaped through the history that you've lived. You've gone through some things, you've seen some things, you've experienced some things, you've realized some things, you've failed in some areas, you've succeeded in some areas. Nonetheless, all of that has shaped the experiences that you have. And due to the history that you've lived thus far, the experiences that you've had, it all leads to value of the next person, of the person that's looking up to you, of the person that's ahead of you, that can even hear from you as to why you've done this, why you've done that, why are you on social media right now, why, Ricky, are you posting YouTube videos, why are you using this space as a place to share a message such as this? Well, it's experiences that I have. Like, this is a space where I feel comfortable sharing and talking and things like that, learning and growing the art of public speaking. Like, this is a part of the experiences that I'm having that will shape the future that is to come. And so will it be for those that are in your circle, that are in your community, or that you have the ability to speak life into. You have experiences, and no experience is too big, no experience is too small that will allow for people to connect. And that's a beautiful thing about experiences, is because when you share what you've been through, what you share what you've gone through, when you share what you've had to overcome, it allows for people to realize that, okay, this world is not so big. There is somebody out here that has gone through something that was similar as myself, or somebody that has gone through things that I may face one day because of a decision that I look to make. And then it starts to bridge the gap of why I should connect, why I should listen, why is this person in front of me that inevitably has value for me. And then that is the catalyst to all that is to follow, all that is to flow, all the value that you'll get to pour into that individual. I know various experiences that connect various people, right? It may be faith. It may be the fact that, hey, I can speak about myself and the fact that at the age 7, I accepted Christ into my life. It wasn't until I was 20, 21-ish time frame, I think it was like 20, is when I was baptized. It was a long gap in between because my father was an associate preacher, associate pastor in the church that I was raised in, and I didn't want to come before the people of age and hadn't been baptized. It may seem crazy, but that was the thing that I was dealing with and trying to overcome mentally. And so I waited until I went off to college, out of the state, to be baptized at the church that I was baptized in. But at that point, I was baptized. Soon thereafter, I accepted my calling into ministry, started preaching, and the list and the time goes on. What am I sharing? My experience. And I don't know, it could have resonated with you. It could have connected with you. Or I could share another experience in my life of how I will say that the growth in my life came from the moves that I made in life. And so to make that make sense, as I was growing up in school, we only moved like 2 or 3 times. Nonetheless, I went to a new high school in one of the moves, and that new high school, if you could spell rough, that school would be in the center of the word rough at that time. I think since then it has improved and grown, and they've done various new things and achieve accomplishments in sports and things like that. But nonetheless, while I was there, it was rough. And I had to change because I wasn't able to focus. I couldn't like retain or to receive anything that was being taught in the classroom. And so I was like, hey, mom and dad, I know we just make this move, but I need to get up out this school, because if you want me to achieve any academic accolades or any academic advances, this is not where I will be able to do so. And so I was able to move high schools. In doing so, I met great people, formed valuable relationships, and I was able to graduate high school, go off to college. In part because of the high school that I went to, the students and the friends that I had, they were all going to college pretty much, and they were sharing different schools that they were going to. Oh, I like this school, boom, let me go here. So I ended up going to Valdosta State University in South Georgia. However, while I was there, things were not working out. It was me, it wasn't them, right? The school's still there. I'm the one who had to leave. So I ended up leaving there, transferring to LSU. My life then took a jump. Like, I grew my relationship with God. I grew my relationship with who I am in this world and all that God had for me to do and to accomplish and to see. Boom, that happened when I moved there. Then after that growth, I moved back to Georgia and was working alongside my dad, going to seminary school and master's program. That's where I met my lovely wife, right? Ended up actually transferring master's programs in master's school because of one of the schools losing accreditation. Boom, ended up in Mercer. That's where I found my wife. That's where I graduated from. And that's where life, again, took another incline. So then I made that move to Tampa. And then that's when I began to flourish in my gifts and calling and ministry, as the mission field was, my space and place and whatnot, which is the world. And so again, it just shows of how, experience-wise, how I had to make moves in order for me to climb, to elevate, and to be where God would have for me to be. It may be somebody that's watching is like, man, I just don't understand why I keep having to move, or man, I don't understand why I need to go there to be where God wants me to be or to achieve the things that God wants me to do. Why can't I do it in my hometown? Why can't I do it where I am? But they'll hear what I just shared and realize, okay, if I do make the leap of faith to move, or if I do take the chance to venture out and to go where I believe God is sharing with me to go, then hey, there can be light at the end of the tunnel. There can be the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, or there can be blessings if I am obedient in my hearing or my feeling or my gut, just reactions to moving. And boom, they're out there moving. But value is there. That's why we share. But again, that's how you are reminded that what you carry is valuable. Because again, it's in the history, it's in our experiences. And last but not least, it's in our perspectives. Because I heard it said, and I love this phrase, how you see the problem is the problem. Perspective. We as people, right, maybe going through life, me needing to pick me up, maybe feeling like all hope is lost, or maybe feeling like I don't know what's next, or maybe feeling like I don't know if I can make it through this day, through this week, or at this job, or you name it, you list it. However, with you being one of them ones that have something valuable that you carry, you could come across this individual, you can come across this group of people, you can come across this person and share your perspective about what they're dealing with, what they're going through. Why? Because you may have had experiences with it. You may be able to share other people's experiences. And that's the beautiful thing about reading and watching videos and always learning, because as you do so, people will share their experiences of how they overcame, how they were able to be triumph over different problems and circumstances that they dealt with. And you too can share their experiences as a way to help the person that you're in front of overcome what they're dealing with, right? It's not always that we have to be ones to share what we've experienced, what we've had going on in history's times past. No, some people, I get it. Some people aren't as open and, willing to share what they've gone through or dealt with, but you can share other people's experiences. When you give another person another way to perceive what they're dealing with and going through, you never know the light that could come on in their life. You never know the change that they will make in their life. You never know what you may save them from doing, right? Which may have a ripple effect of other people that will be blessed because either this person remained living, right? Because of a perspective that could have been dimmed. That when you spoke to them, that when you shared with them, that when you release what you carry, which is valuable to them, it allowed for them to realize, no, I do need to keep living. I can press on. I can overcome. I am victorious. I am triumphant. However, your perspective, even personally, is a beautiful thing. Again, stacking on it because of your history, because of your experiences, because of your perspective. And my perspective is different from your perspective, right? I have the perspective of a young black male, age 36, grew up as the only child in my household. I do have a sister, right? I grew up 2-parent household. We live very well. I didn't want for anything. I grew up very close to my family, so I have a perspective of family. I have a perspective of what it looks like to grow up in a, mother, father household. Parents are still married to this day. I went to college. I went and received my master's degree, and all of these are my perspectives, right? That I have, that I bring wherever I show up. So do you. You have a perspective. And just because your perspective doesn't line up with the perspective or the experience or the history of your favorite athlete, your favorite influencer, or your favorite celebrity, or your favorite, you name it, it doesn't lose value because of what you have. No. Your value is valuable because you've had experiences. You've had history. You've overcame some things, and you have now scoped a perspective that's valuable, that's unique. And can I share this? This is a just personal situation in the sense that I would look at people that are public speaking, and I would listen to their story, and oftentimes they've come from like backgrounds of abuse or one parent household, or it was just a struggle and things like that. And I said to myself, man, I can't relate to any of that. That is not my story at all. And I chuckle right now because I'm able to look back. And back then, when I was having those thoughts, when I was seeing those things, when I was hearing those stories, the Les Browns, he was adopted and all of that. He grew up to be the great, phenomenal public speaker that he is today because he's still alive and living and doing well. I said, man, Ricky, you won't be able to be on stages. You won't be able to be before people. And one of my passions is being before kids, speaking to them, encouraging them, inspiring them, activating them, because you didn't go through those things. How crazy is that? To think that because I didn't have a rough upbringing, that I wasn't valuable to people that are still yet to live life to the fullest or experience all things, or I don't have anything valuable perspective-wise to give them, even because I had a great upbringing, right? How wild is that? But that's how the mind can trick us. That's how thoughts can give us a crazy, untrue perspective about the value that you actually have, because it doesn't add up to or doesn't line up with the hardships, the trials, the tribulations of the next person. I'm saying all that to say, great people, what you carry not only is valuable because of the perspective that you have to give due to the fact of the experiences, the history, but more importantly, I don't want you to go through life waiting for somebody to say that you're valuable. I don't want you to go through life thinking to yourself that you don't have anything to offer into this world. I don't want you to go through life thinking to yourself that, I'm gonna just let, my neighbor or the person behind me or the next person or my favorite mentor or a great speaker to share something valuable to this individual that I know needs something, right? To lift them up, to bring them out of darkness, to encourage them to keep on, to press on. No, I have something within me that will allow for them to see the beauty that they are, the value that they bring into this world, and to give them the relief and the hope to keep going, to press on, and to do all that their life has the ability, which is infinite ability, to accomplish. And so I just challenge you by asking you to repeat after me and saying, I am valuable. I know I am. I am valuable each and every day. I show up with something great to bring into this world. Everybody that comes in contact with me has the ability to grow based off the value that I have to give. No longer will I sell myself short, dim my light, or look to someone else to give what ultimately I have within. Great people, I want you to realize and recognize and know that not only what you carry is valuable, but you as an individual, and I do mean you, are valuable to this world. I love you, I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next video.